they're closing the porch, fixing the porch, and you're closing the porch probably the beginning of May sometime, allegedly.
Okay, to make it like a dormitory.
Yeah, yeah.
You can have a lock. You can have a lock. Yeah, cruising early. Yeah, right. Who needs housing when you have a porch?
I went there today. It's oh my God, there's so much junk.
No, they've kind of like cordoned it off as a bedroom. Yeah. When does that happen?
Sometime in May, so it could happen anytime. But
All right.
I'll keep you posted. Yeah, and you know we're gonna go to across the street, the Mother Teresa Center for breakfast.
When you're doing the work? Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, good. I'm gone Friday, May 15th or something, but Katie's gonna cover.
Oh, okay.
Like there's a bunch of Fridays, like to make for a long weekend, I'm taking a lot of Fridays, and now that I'm only there on Fridays, it's like I would leave you empty, but Katie said she can pick them up.
Oh, great,
So,
great.
yeah.
And I'm going to Las Vegas May 9th to the 15th
Oh, nice.
for vacation, so
Why Vegas?
just the warm weather and some shows. I'm not a game.
Sounds like goofy fun.
Yeah, just,
You gonna go to the Sphere?
yes.
Who's playing?
Wizard of Oz is there, I guess.
In the Sphere? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were.
Circus Soleil. Have you ever done Circus Soleil?
I've seen the movies. I haven't seen them live.
Oh, yeah.
They are amazing.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait.
I know
Just to get
And do you get cheap accommodations in Vegas? Because
Yeah.
you're gonna gamble your money away.
We have a timeshare, so it's pretty cheap.
Oh, nice. 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 Yeah, we've got some
I
plans.
spent $20 gambling, and it's, it's
It's good to cut yourself off.
walk around,
Yeah.
mix.
Yeah.
We did the dam tour last time.
Hi, sister.
Dam, it was pretty cool.
Hello. Hi, this is
I'd like to see even just the electric. I've never been.
Mount Morris.
Yeah, Mount Morris. I've never toured it yet. Yeah.
Catherine took the homeschoolers once.
Yeah, I wanted to go one time,
Yeah,
but I've never been there.
it's pretty interesting, yeah.
You've been there too?
Yep.
Everyone?
Yeah, years ago, yeah.
It's a thing. No, that's what I want to have. We went
As a family,
I've just talked about it for 20 years now.
taking kids to.
Sam did it again, out there in the 30s. It's harder to go.
How are the kids?
Good.
How's the family?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coming out.
Any babies?
No babies.
All right, we're having a baby.
I know, I heard. It's
August.
fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, little girl.
Yeah.
Is that the first?
Yep.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna be papa.
I had
No.
that special privilege
What's that?
of being the first
Oh.
baby in the family, grandchild,
Oh.
first girl.
My daughter
And
too.
held it for a very long time.
My daughter's the only girl.
Hmm.
So that was she was like
Yeah.
Hello. You wouldn't be Maggie, would you? Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. Yes. I don't know if there's gonna be seating.
They,
left your goods.
Oh my phone. Well, you get it. Still can say there's other suggestions. And then, but it's recorded, so everything's on the other. She just traveled a lot for her various commitments. You know, she's on the
She just got back, and Sunday afternoon, she's got a meeting with Isaac has a name, but they're the people that do some youth ministry, where they're coordinating, I'm not sure.
yeah.
And
I just don't, I like to travel and go on vacation, but I don't like to travel like.
yeah.
Hello?
You guys are gonna have to sit in the front.
Yes, please.
Or else I'll move the podium.
Might be something that's down, since
I'm gonna stand right next to you. So that if, when you have a burning idea, you just.
It would look strange if I'm just standing there next to you. Like, why is he standing there next to me?
I know. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Holly, we still get paid for this.
Yep.
Shows up.
Same fee as I got to originally. But now I'm divided 5 ways. Looks gorgeous. Look at this. I love this room. This is so
Beautiful day.
yeah, yeah. I thought it was going to be like 7.
Supposed to get
Tom.
If you got a minute. Jane is my across the street. So she like knits things.
I think we have a couple more maybe coming, but we'll get going so we respect the time of the people who came for this. So we have today Bill Camp, who's the executive director of St. Joseph's Northside, and Michael Brennan, and what's it? Street Medicine. So who comes to St. Joseph's Northside, among other places, right? So we're just going to hear a little bit about what that work is like and what they're seeing these days, basically. Thank you so much for coming, guys.
Good morning, everyone. Everybody hear me okay? I'm Bill, and I'm an executive director now. Ooh. I think I'm a coordinator. Does do a little bit of everything. Yes, this is our mission statement, and I'm Bill. And my assistant manager, Michael, is in the back. Raise your hand. So you know what? We're kind of a small group, what I thought we would do, and we're with Michael Brennan, who is through his branches. So I'm gonna give you a little history of St. Joseph Northside, and maybe just share the wonderful little miracles that happen on Lyle Avenue with St. Joseph Northside. I've been there for 5 years. February 17th is my 5-year anniversary. I started right after COVID, and it was quite an experience. So what I thought we'd do, since we're such a small little group, is maybe just start out with a little prayer and kind of come together and just remember the people that we're going to talk about today, the people that, if you drive down Lyle Avenue, you see people in wheelchairs and bicycles and canes and walking down the street, and doing all kinds of stuff, illegal stuff and legal stuff. So we just remember all the people that we're about to remember in our conversation today. So why don't we start in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, we thank you for this beautiful spring day. We thank you for bringing us all together and sharing your good news about the good news of your love and your compassion and your healing. We ask you to be with all the people that we serve and love through St. Joseph Northside. We ask you to be with us and keep us safe and keep us on track and fill us with your love and peace. In your Son's name, Jesus, we say amen. So I was doing a little bit of reading just about the history of St. Joseph Northside. And so we started, the Sisters of St. Joseph, Sister Peggy Brennan, started it in November 2005 after a big community needs assessment. And part of the information that the congregation came back was that isolation and people without family or friends or support were the biggest need in that area, Lyle Avenue, Otis Avenue, but also just, of course, the city and our nation, too. But so the idea was the sisters, with Sister Peggy kind of starting it, and I know there was many sisters involved at the very beginning. The idea was just to offer, sorry about that, just to offer a safe, it's just a bill collector, so. Just to offer a safe, homey place to come off for people that are living on the street or working on the street or just in the neighborhood, to kind of come off and find some peace and be safe and kind of feel less alone and kind of build up community. And when they started in 2005, there was many sisters that were available, and we actually had there was a writing group for women, there was a cooking group on Fridays, there was other different kind of groups, and it was a different kind of population back then. It was mostly women, mostly neighbors that were kind of coming in and kind of just coming in for coffee and to chit chat and to kind of feel the need of being home and safe. And then there was another director, Tracy, that started, and then I took her place after COVID. And after COVID, we really kind of morphed through. We saw more people coming that were really just hungry, like really asking for food. And St. Joseph's always did give food. It was mostly cereal and, of course, the famous breakfast program it used to be on Mondays, then it was on Tuesdays, and we still do that on Tuesday. But the idea was to just, again, kind of offer breakfast Tuesday to Friday, 9 to 1. Our original hours were until 2, but we found that once kind of noon came, people, if they were hungry, they would go to Cameron at 12 o'clock. So that's when we kind of ended our day at 1 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock. But, and since I've been in leadership, we've joined up with Dr. Mike through Healthcare for the Homeless at the beginning, and then now with his branches. Healthcare for the Homeless still comes. They bring their mobile unit on Tuesdays. We've actually had another component. We've taken MSW students from Nazareth for the last 2 years to kind of do social work, case management stuff. We've also kind of developed a little bit of a clothing ministry, just emergency stuff like socks and underwear and t-shirts and sometimes pants and shoes. Sometimes our ladies come with, even in the middle of winter, it just never amazes, it always amazes me. People come off the street with nothing, no shoes in the middle of winter. So we're grateful for the support of the sisters and everybody who brings us clothing and food. We had a huge event at St. Monica's where they gave us tons and tons of personal hygiene items. So we're going through that, and toothpaste and toothbrush and soap and deodorant is always a big need. Lotion and things like that. So we've kind of developed, our main focus is still just to love people and to serve people and be there, get to know them, love them, know their name, and just listen to them, offer them services. We do a lot of joint work with Cameron down the street, Cameron Street Ministries. Again, we work with Healthcare for the Homeless. We work with a lot of other outreach ministries. Person-centered housing comes at least a couple times a month and hooks people up with case managers and shelter. Liberty Behavioral Health has been very instrumental, and they've hooked up a few people with permanent housing for us. So we try to do the best we can with the little we have. I did write an article last year maybe about just the small, we're a tiny little house. If you've never been there, feel free, you're always welcome to come. It's a tiny little house, but a lot of big things happen there. Barbara and I, 4 years ago, we helped I was gonna say a young man, but he's not so young anymore, but he's been clean and sober for 4 years. And Barbara and I we sat in one day and just talked to him about how he was tired of living on the street for 30 years and being in addiction, and he's been clean and sober for 4 years now. So we have many stories like that. We've also had many tragedies. Since I've been there, we've lost at least 12 people through the opiate, losing people through overdose. So a big thing that we do too is we started this like 3-4 years ago, is we do have a Narcan box on our front porch for people who are kind of in the middle of an overdose. We can help them survive an overdose. So we give out boxes, and we work with Monroe County impact team. So we're very community-based, and we love what we do. It's a very hard ministry. So I ask you to always keep us in your prayers, keep me in your prayers, and all my staff. Sister Barbara is our medical nursey kind of person. Tommy's our intern that's going to leave us, but he says he'll come back, but we'll see. You know how life goes on. So Sister Judy I use as a consultant, kind of when I need somebody sane, I listen to her. Sister Joan is way in the back. She does the most important job of all. She goes shopping for me at BJ's and Wegmans. So I think I have everybody else, but we have a great team. We have about 10 volunteers that are just amazing. The things that they do, I don't even have to ask people. The things that they do for our guests are amazing, and it's all about love. So, does people have any questions or thoughts or?
How do people get interviewed?
That's a great question. Yeah, we're basically considered a drop-in center. So there's no need to referral. We just open the door. People, we are small, so we try to keep the number of people in the house down to like 8 people. Sometimes that goes over, but people just come and knock on the door. We do breakfast every day, Tuesday to Friday. we ask them when they're done eating breakfast if they have no other issues, that they, they kind of make room for other people. So people just come in. A lot of community people just stop in looking for people. Health department kind of looks for people sometimes. Mental health people come by looking for referrals and stuff like that. So we're basically just an open door kind of policy. Yep. Great question, thank you. I know I could just update you a little bit, and then I will pass it over to Dr. Mike. But it's been an area of growth that we're not all excited about, but it is kind of it is a sign of the times. I just came from the house about 10 o'clock today, and we have a porch, a front porch. People have been living on the porch and using drugs on the porch and collecting junk on the porch. So the church, which is Holy Apostles Roman Catholic Church, they've been wonderful. They don't pay us, they don't charge us rent, so we've been there since 2005 without rent. Father Tony and us have thought about and looked at plans to have the front porch basically enclosed, but more importantly fixed. The whole porch is basically just kind of collapsing among itself. So thank you to the congregation of the sisters here and Holy Apostles Catholic Church. We've gotten money to do a major project for that sometime in May. So, we are going to lose the front porch, but we're not going to lose hopefully the idea of meeting people, out on the sidewalk and always having an open door for people. But the porch really needs to be fixed. It's really, it's an old house. I think it's 102 years old. So that's the new big thing that's coming up this summer. We are going to do hot dog roasts the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of June, July, and August. Volunteers from Isaiah House come, and they bring everything except the hot dogs. And they bring everything. Ice cream, macaroni salad, bean salad, potato chips, drinks, water. This will be their this will be their 6th year, I think, doing that. So they're wonderful if you want to participate in that, because we usually serve about 60 to 70 people, and it's open to everybody in the neighborhood, grandmas and kids and our homeless folk and our neighbors, and so it's a wonderful experience just to build community in that part of the city. So, Barbara, did you have a question?
At St. Joseph's, ever since the time of Sister Peggy Brennan, every once in a while, when something is happening that is kind of untoward, whether it's language or beginning a fight or whatever it is, inappropriate behavior, very often over the years, somebody will stand up and say, "This is God's house. You can't do that here." Now, we have never advertised in that way, but somehow that message is out there.
I was just thinking about the porch. And I think the porch initially was a real symbol of welcoming there. And I can remember one woman in particular who would come sometimes and tell Peg, I came last night and I just sat here. And just sitting on the steps of this porch, I felt safe. Whether she was or not, but she knew it was a refuge and it was a place. So now the place or the porch is moving into something different because we need it and need it for something nice. But it just really touched me when you started to talk about it.
You say you're enclosing the porch. Does that mean it's going to be closed? Like if somebody comes, they can't get in, they can't go in, they can't?
Yeah, it's the church community is really concerned about people sleeping on the porch at night, even in the winter
Oh,
time.
So it's off limits then?
So it is going to be, it's going to have windows and metal doors, and it'll be, we could still use it, open it up, and I'm sure we're going to be able to maybe put a table on there for coffee or something. But yeah, the idea is to kind of not have people sleeping on the porch, because it usually ends up as a big mess. Michael and I have spent a lot of hours just picking up trash, and then also it's just safe. We've had at least 2 people die on that porch from overdose. So yeah, so the church community is just very concerned about that's the first thing people see when they come into the parking lot sometimes, especially on a Sunday with kids and all that. So we're trying to be good stewards and good neighbors because Holy Apostles has been wonderful with us. So, but also more importantly, it's falling apart. You can stand on it and bounce on the porch. So, but we'll find a way. There's always going to be chairs outside on the sidewalk, and I mean, people do that anyhow. People sit on the sidewalk. But thank you for your questions and comments. Anybody else?
Is there anyone at the property after 1 o'clock? Or is anybody there throughout the afternoon, or is it just in the morning that?
Well, a part of what happened this past year was it's a double house. So part of the issue was that we do have a family that lives upstairs.
Okay.
With children.
I
so
see.
that's part of the other issue about safety, and there's been not to scare people, but the reality is there's been fires on the porch at night, in the middle of the winter, and
Yeah.
so it is a safety issue too. So at least twice there's been a big bonfire, one on the porch and one on the sidewalk. So that's a motivating force for Father Tony. But yes, we close at 1. Anybody else? So please, if you've never been there,
Bill,
please.
I have
I'm
one
sorry.
question. So you said, if I understand correctly, attendance has increased over the years. Did you ever have to turn away people, or is that not?
We try not to turn people away. Last summer, on Friday, we do pancakes. In the summertime, we were seeing 60, 70 people for pancakes. Most of those people eat on the porch or take food home. Like Cameron Street Ministry, their lunch program, since they've had some issues, they don't serve people at the table anymore. They give lunch in a bag to people to go. So sometimes that's what we end up doing on Fridays with a big crowd. And a lot of people, some people do have places to live or hang out or stay. So, but our average right now, this past winter, we were seeing about 120 people a month. So that's down probably from 150 last winter. But when I started, we would see like 10 people a day, and now we're seeing 40 people a day. So yeah, it's grown quite a bit. With food being the biggest, food and medical care, mental health stuff, substance abuse help. Thank you. Anybody else?
I have one last question, sorry. I can speak loud, but I'm sure I don't need.
You said something about some St. John Fisher social work students were coming. Is that's probably just during their semester, and is it a scheduled time that they come, or can they come on demand for urgent problems?
Because I'm a social work by trade, so we've worked with Nazareth,
Nazareth.
social work. So yes, like Tommy's an intern. He just finished his
okay.
year intern. He would come Fridays with us, 9 to 1, and then he'd be here on Wednesdays. But that's the plan, is to continue that.
It sounds very connected. That's great.
So if you've never been there, I tell people I do not cook anymore on Fridays, so my pancakes were kind of black. So I've been told that I can't cook anymore. So please feel free to do great pancakes on Friday. You're all welcome to come. 9 to 10:30 is pancakes are usually gone. So, all right. Anything else? Thank you so much for your time and keeping us in your prayers, definitely.
So let's bring up Michael Brennan.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Barbara, thank you, Michael, thank you, Tommy, for the work you guys do, and Judy. And I'm Michael Brennan. I'm a nurse practitioner. I do street medicine, but I've been coming to St. Joe's Northside for years, and I think of it as the little house that could. You're at the epicenter of poverty and homelessness and opioid use and prostitution and mental illness, and you are the little house that could. And when you walk into St. Joe's Northside, it's like the old show Cheers, where everybody knows your name. And you guys really prioritize that. You know your people, you know your flock. And you walk in and there's Roy and Patricia serving the coffee, and blind Freddie in his chair in his throne, and it's just it's got a warm, loving hospitality to this tiny little house that serves so many so graciously. So just kudos to all of you, and you're doing it. Is God's house, and we are but stewards, right? So well done. I have a question for everybody. Just raise your hand if you can answer affirmatively to this. Do you know someone who is homeless or having housing instability? Raise your hands. Do you know people? Do you know anyone dealing with mental illness or trauma? Know anyone struggling with addiction? Yeah. Know anyone who's died of an overdose? Okay, so, these are the problems that plague us, right? And my role for 4 years, I've been doing street medicine, and that is bringing medical care to the people on the street. And I carry a 55-liter backpack that has all the supplies that you'd have in a clinic. We have antibiotics, we have wound care supplies. The medical needs on the street are huge because people refuse to go to the emergency room because they're going to have to wait 6 hours, and they're going to start to go through withdrawal, and they get treated with stigma, judgment, strong negative judgment. So my people don't want to go to the emergency room, so we end up treating them on the street. I've opened up abscesses on the street. We give shots of antibiotic on the street instead of getting IV antibiotics. We just try to keep people alive. It's a whole philosophy of care called harm reduction, and which is just, I prescribe a lot of buprenorphine, which is Suboxone, that helps people get off the opioids. And we do a lot of that because people are everybody's at some stage of recovery from their opioid addiction. So we try to help them with that. I think what I want to do is read a poem. That's kind of like what this work is very gritty but gratifying. It's very hard. There's a lot of vicarious trauma. But it's also very gratifying because the people are so gracious, so grateful for any little thing you can do for them. And they're your friends. They're the people you knew in high school. They're not, like society has taken such a negative view of the unhoused. And they're your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle. They're just regular folks trying to survive. So I'm going to read my little poem. Street medicine. Meeting people where they are at, both literally and figuratively, not patient-centered care, but patient-led care. An entire clinic in a backpack. The streets are hard. People's lives are harder still. The bedrock diagnosis is trauma, ubiquitous trauma upon trauma. It's not about what's wrong with you, but rather what happened to you. Uncivil society stigmatizes, judges, makes people feel invisible, unwanted, unloved. The task at hand is to see Jesus in the distressing disguise of the poor, the addicted, the marginalized. It is not only to bind the wounds and heal the infections, but to heal the afflictions. Social and relational poverty slays a sense of belonging, slays a sense of hope. The healing power of love can restore a sense of cherished belonging. There is such a beautiful hidden wholeness. The unhoused have lost almost everything. Their lives are often marked by chaos and desperation. And yet, so many are so kind and generous and transparent and vulnerable and most of all, grateful. They show up fully authentic, no pretenses, zero sense of entitlement. We owe them our own authenticity. They won't have it any other way. Such a thin line between our lives and theirs. One wrong turn, one bad decision, or maybe heaps of misfortune. You are shedding tears, shaking, letting down your guard, becoming softer, letting me in. It was your mother who hurt you, and your father, and the jail time. You miss your kids. You show me pictures. They are beautiful. You say, I have no one. I wish that I had a medication to give you for that. You keep repeating, solo necesito un abrazo de mi mamá. I just need a hug from my mom. I am not your mother, but I hug you anyway. Steadfast solidarity is to share in the pain of powerlessness. It is to carry a sliver of the suffering. Yes, the streets are hard, but there is also informal community, folks looking out for one another, sharing what little they have. Hector overdosed on fentanyl, and a dozen of us came to his rescue. Folks were saying to him as he came to, somos familia, and te amamos. We are family, and we love you. An impromptu extended family on the hard streets. And what a blessing it is to be present on these hard streets, tending to the people with hard lives and grateful hearts and stubborn hopes in a better future. Hemingway wrote, "The world breaks everyone, and afterwards many are strong at the broken places." We are all beautifully broken, turning our wounds inside out, becoming wounded healers for our weary world. Thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity to love and serve you in your distressing disguises. Amen. Thank you for listening to that. I think that says everything I want to say. I'm done. I am going to pass out a card. I don't know. Another show of hands. Anybody listen to podcasts? Yeah? All right. I produce and host a national podcast called Streetside. So I'm just going to pass out some cards. Take some. Keep the extras. Give them to friends or family. We have about 30 episodes of the podcast, and it's all about street medicine. So if you've never listened to a podcast before, I'll show you how to do it on your phone afterwards, okay? So that ends my formal remarks. Are there any questions for street medicine?
I have a question. Most of the people, and it's kind of for everybody, I'm guessing, and I think what you read that was beautiful, Michael, most of the people that you see and tend to have suffered trauma of some kind. You would say pretty much everybody, some kind of family situation or something went on. So, yeah. So it doesn't come from nowhere?
No, but I mean, as I tried to say, I think trauma is the bedrock diagnosis for everything we do, and it's ubiquitous. I would say 99% of my patients have experienced some major life traumas, be it violence, be it jail, be it their childhood. So and trauma, if anyone's read the book, oh gosh, The Body Keeps the Score. Has anybody read that book? Yeah. Yeah, and there's another book, Oprah wrote a book, What Happened to You, about trauma. But trauma kind of marks our current status in this country. Like, trauma is so prevalent. And there's no, there's therapy for trauma, but there's also, one of the antidotes to trauma is to develop loving, caring, trusting relationships. And that's what St. Joe's Northside does. People are seen. People are valued for who they are. They know they can trust the leaders. That can help heal trauma. Like, I give people, there's 2 medications for trauma that are Zoloft and Lexapro that have an indication for PTSD. So, we start people on that, but I think coming for pancakes on a Friday is just as healing as my Zoloft. And tastes better. Are there any other questions for Michael? Yeah, so St. Joe's Northside is one of the locations that I go to. A place I'm very busy is North Clinton Ave. If you've heard of the Father Tracy Advocacy Center on North Clinton, that's the heart of the barrio. That's my Spanish-speaking clients are there. A lot of them, but it's one of the 2 epicenters in Rochester are Lyle and North Clinton. We have a lot of people living in tents off Joseph Ave, and we go to the Lincoln Branch Library at Joseph and Avenue D. That's another big place. I go to Asbury First now. On Wednesdays, they have a breakfast program on East Ave, which is a different clientele. It's a little different vibe on East Ave versus North Clinton. And then we also go to the Elk Place is an old hotel that's been turned into a rooming house. And yeah, that's mostly it. And then I work out of his branch's community health center on Arnett Boulevard in the 19th Ward. Some of my street patients graduate to becoming clinic patients, so they actually can make and keep an appointment. That's the criteria.
So do you go, this is where you see your client, you don't see them on the corner of the street?
No, we do that too. I work out of my car sometimes.
Okay.
A lot of people panhandle up off the 104.
Yep.
So, at those intersections on Hudson and St. Joseph and Carter, and, those are locations we'll go to. I'll go visit people in their tents. So I have a side hustle in sleeping bags and tents.
Wow.
There's people in the community that just drop them off on my front porch every week. There's this one woman, we put it out on the Buy Nothing, I think it was. My wife said, oh, we need sleeping bags and tents. And this one woman just adopted the program. She goes to Goodwill and buys sleeping bags in bulk. It's like $1 a pound or something. And she, every week, it's her little ministry. My front porch gets sleeping bags and tents every week. Jane can tell you, she's my neighbor. Somebody dropping stuff off again.
So is one of the challenges getting these people to come back for follow-up care, or,
The challenge is there from the beginning. The challenge is getting them to be seen in the first place. You got to build rapport. So there was a woman at Father Tracy Center that was there every day, and it took me 2 years to build enough of a relationship that she would trust me with her care. And she did, and I became her primary care provider. And tragically, very tragically, I hate to traumatize anybody with this story, but she was living under the railroad pass on Clinton, and in pallets with tarps, and she got horrible frostbite of both her feet, and she lost both her legs in February. So, I had Victor died in his tent of hypothermia. Chocolate, I think I can say her name, lost both her legs and is in a wheelchair, and so. But to answer your question, Street medicine is slow medicine. You got to build rapport, you got to have the relationship, the trust, and then people come back. Once that's established, the relationship, my people, they get my cell phone number. They know how to reach me. You know, like I'm on call 24/7 for my people. It's concierge medicine on the margins. So people get my number. They know where I'm going to be. Like, it's important that I have a fixed schedule. Father Tracy, every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m., they know I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, especially for people on Suboxone, you can only prescribe it for a month at a time.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
ask
people need to follow up. So they do. They're sometimes they don't. You know, sometimes I lose. You know, they get lost to follow up. It happens all the time. But eventually they kind of circle back. You know, oh, I was in jail for 3 months. Now I'm back. You know, that kind of thing. So, any other questions? Yeah, behind you.
Are you one of a kind, or are there other street doctors?
Well, fortunately, there are others. Bill mentioned Health Reach, Healthcare for the Homeless. There's Matt Privet is a nurse practitioner with Andrea, his nurse. So they're out in the community doing this kind of work. I have a coworker, Katie, who's a physician assistant. She's going to open a practice at Heart and Soul, a church on North Clinton on Thursday mornings. So there's and Trillium has a bus. So, you know, and I'm just going to point out, there's a distinction between going out in a mobile health unit and walking down the street with your backpack. You know, as soon as you welcome someone onto your bus, you're in kind of a sanitized, privileged, clinical, sterile, you know, it's a different feel. When I go out to and visit people in their tents, I'm on their turf. We're on their agenda, you know, and I'm there to help, but it's not like, I don't know, there's a power dynamic as soon as they step on my bus. And so I don't have a bus. I don't want a bus. Don't give me a bus. All right?
Bill, you mentioned people losing feet.
I'm Michael.
Or Michael. Yeah, interchangeable. People losing, you know, feet and legs and stuff. And I had that happen to a guy that I'm pretty friendly with, who was just didn't ever want to be in a shelter type of guy. But once that happened, it was horrible. He got an apartment. He got a lot of different kinds of support, and in some ways seems to be doing better. Have you seen anything like that? Is that like or, you know, do people just be back on the street in their wheelchair?
Yeah, I mean, there are as many stories as there are people of who does well and who doesn't. I think I'd like to just take your question and spin it a little bit.
Sure.
I've got a patient, and I can use his name because he speaks with me publicly. His name is Todd. Todd was 30 years on the streets of Rochester, 30 years with a crack cocaine addiction. He had a big bushy beard, long hair. He earned the nickname Manson for Charles Manson. And he was eating out of dumpsters and begging for food and trying to get the next fix. And Todd, through a series of interfacing with loving kindness, and he says this, he says, people who were kind to me invited me to something better. And so never undervalue the power of kindness. He said, kindness turned me around. He went to detox, got sober. He's now sober 2 years. He's a contractor. He's got his own business. He's got a big pickup truck and a trailer. He put a bedroom window in my house. He's going to come in tomorrow and look at my bathroom and redo it. He's going to fix my front door. He's my guy. He's my contractor, my former patient who was homeless for 30 years. So if you haven't listened to a podcast ever, I'm going to recommend 30 Years on the Street with Todd Lucero. It's on the cards that went around, there's a QR code on the back. That'll take you to the podcast. So you just use your camera on your phone and it'll take you there. So 30 Years on the Street with Todd.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, all. Appreciate it. All I'm going to say is there aren't flyers up for the new series. We have 3 in May and 2 in June, just ours. So I have a few here, or you'll see them on the bulletin boards and such. But we're going to go through June 8th, I believe. Thank you for coming, and thanks so much to Bill and Michael and Tommy and Barb, everybody, all the stuff you do.